offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com. Greg Bakun here. I've been talking for a while about how spooky, fun, and fascinating the Minneapolis trolley tours are. But now there's big news. The Candlelight Ghost Tours now begin at the historic Pillsbury Club, a beautifully restored haunted mansion once owned by Charles Pillsbury himself. Believe it or not, the interior is nearly 200 years older than the exterior. How is that possible? You'll have to come out and find out. Before or after your tour, stop by the on-site market featuring a curated collection of handmade goods, artisan crafts, and locally inspired treasures. Perfect for picking up a keepsake to remember your haunting adventure. You'll also find exclusive spooky merchandise from Tales of the Crypt and Elvira. Then climb aboard the climate-controlled trolley as we travel through Minneapolis's haunted hotspots, uncovering ghost stories that locals would rather keep buried. The mansion is restored to perfection, and there is no better way to spend an evening. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets and more information.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 35, Wednesday sunny with a high near 53, and Thursday sunny with a high near 64. Step into the magic of The Wizard of Oz at Children's Theater Company, playing now through June 14th, featuring the beloved songs from the classic film, breathtaking stage magic, and a dog as real as Toto. Get your tickets today at childrenstheater.org. That's childrenstheater.org.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story. This is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio, AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. A couple things we want to get to tonight, and I think it's gonna be a fun night. Meant to be kind of lighthearted here, but also kind of serious and kind of real, because we're gonna be talking a little bit about some of the stuff that kind of grinds our gears a little bit when it comes to all things paranormal, and that's going to be whether it's going to be the conventions or the TV shows, or just certain things in general. I just kind of air some thoughts and whatever on it. Feel free to put yours in as well. And I thought it'd be fun to invite someone along here tonight that is normally over at the station helping me out. But tonight I thought it'd be nice if he could just join me. I have with me Adam, not in Eden Prairie tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing well tonight. It's actually kind of interesting to be sitting back here and just kind of relaxing and being part of the show instead of working on the show. It's very interesting.
Well, I hope you enjoy it. So, full props to Adam, because he came up with the idea of doing something along the lines of the Festivus. And it's going to be it's going to be very interesting to see what we kind of come up with tonight, what we're talking about. I also want to talk a little bit about the show last night. And I know, Adam, you hadn't had a chance to listen, but I don't think you're going to have a problem grooving into the conversation here a little bit, because we had on Heidi Hollis, and that was an incredible conversation about what do we expect from any sort of disclosure? What does that look like? And that was a really great conversation. So we're gonna do that as well. But talking about just some of the stuff that kind of grinds our gears a little bit is something that I've not shied away from, and I think that's pretty clear. One of the first things I'm going to talk about here, which I'm sure people are going to be just like rolling their eyes, is the fact that it looks like Jason Haas. It looks like a lot of people bought Jason Haas a brand new house over in Connecticut. Over the Conjuring house is now. It's not 100% official, but it looks like that's the way things are going to go. So, well done to all of you who supported this. I can't necessarily, and I think this isn't something that is new to anyone who listens on a regular basis, but this is something I still scratch my head about. They're going to get the house. Okay, well done. Phase 2 has begun now, Adam. We've talked about this the other day. Phase 2 has begun, where it is now moving away from a GoFundMe platform to selling merch that basically is saying, I helped fix the Conjuring house or whatever it is now. And everyone has a right to do what they want to do. And especially he can sell it now because he owns the house. Technically, a lot of people own the house in a way, but you get my drift. But now, since he has it, he's selling merch, and he says that the money from that merch is going to go to preserving the house itself, which I can imagine that it's going to be. It's a house from the 1700s. It probably needs a lot of work. Probably hasn't been touched in too terribly long. But I just the whole thing just kind of keeps. I scratch my head. I don't have an issue with Jason Haas wanting to get the Conjuring house. I do not have an issue with that whatsoever. Andrea and Perron had reached out to him apparently to save the house because she lived there. It's the Conjuring house. We won't get into the fact tonight that everything that everyone has ever said about the house is not true as it happens. That's for another night when we get Shannon on to talk about her book. But the thing is, it's like you have this you have all these people crowdsourcing. I don't know Jason Haas' financial situation, but I don't think it's poor. I don't understand why you don't get a conglomerate of like people who can do that are earning money, and you get a group together and then you all go in to get the house. This whole crowdfunding thing, no matter how much I try to think about it, it really it really rubs me the wrong way. And Adam, what do you think about that?
I'm in agreement with you, especially since, if he needed help buying it to begin with, why didn't he ask the other ghost hunters, ask the other people from the Travel Channel, especially since HBO is big on this anyways because of the Conjuring series anyways, and they own Discovery, at least for the moment they do. So, why didn't that happen? Crowdsourcing does bug me on this because there's going to be, those people who are out there and they donated that, and it's their money, good for them, they can do what they want with it, but are they going to get anything special? Do they get a free ghost hunt out there at the Conjuring house? No, they don't. And is it really a piece of history? It's a piece of pop culture history.
Yeah.
But is it truly a piece of Connecticut history or Rhode Island history?
If it was, I mean, if I were them, meaning Jason Haas, I think that'd be one of the first things I would try to do is try to get that as a historic landmark then, right? So nothing else can happen to it. But and this is where maybe I'm getting things confused. So this is not something I thought there was a reason why it couldn't be or something, and maybe I'm making that up. Maybe that's all just something else. But the thing is, it's like I never really got really much from Andrea that this place was, so nostalgic to her. It felt like they wanted to get out of there ultimately. And then for, Jason to crowdsource it just, for those of you who did it, first of all, you do what you need to do. It's your money. It's not my money. So you do whatever you want to do with it. If it makes you feel good, whether you donated $15 or some, $5,000-$10,000, that's up to you. But I mean, what is the end game here for that? And so now they're going to go into phase 2. They're going to be selling merch that money goes into refurbishing the house. In my mind, I don't know why that wasn't part of the deal to begin. Why make your GoFundMe at just a level by the house? Why not just add another $100,000 to it so you can fix it up or whatever it is going to do? Plus, I'm just curious, and because it's not crowdsourcing, we don't need to know. It makes you wonder though how much that's going to cost to bring this house to whatever Jason feels like needs to happen to it. I don't know. It's just interesting. It's just, and like you said, Adam, no one's really going to get anything out of it. You can show up there and you're like, I donated $200 to this. Can I go in and investigate? I mean, my guess is he's going to say no. I mean,
yeah, and it's not like he's going to be there all the time either. You're going to walk in there. You're not going to see him there. It's not going to be investigate with Jason every time you get to go there. He's got a life. So, it's one of those situations where why I respect what Dave Schrader did with the Palmer House.
Yeah.
So much more.
Yeah. He
did it all on his own. It really wasn't made public that he was doing it. Next thing you know, in his social, he's like, hey, I bought the Palmer House.
Yeah.
And yeah, has he marketed? Absolutely. But what else has he done? Marketed what's on the Palmer House menu. Marketed the businesses also around the Palmer House.
Yep.
He's done it the right way. That's why I think people might who listen back to this might be like, why are you damning Jay but not Dave? Because there were two stark differences on how they both went about it. And I'm going to just guess, because I don't know this, but I'm going to imagine that Jay's payroll is a lot more than Dave's payroll.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. I would agree with all of that. I would agree that, and that was the one thing, that, I mean, I'm going to be very honest. When I found out that Dave bought the Palmer House, I was a little skeptical because it's just like, oh goodness, here we go. And not that Dave has the wealth of Matt Rife, but it's like, oh, you're getting the celebrities buying all the stuff and whatever. But to your point, and we had talked about this before, that you brought up, like he's promoting the businesses in Sock Center, and he's there. It's not always about the haunted aspect to it. And why wouldn't it be? I mean, obviously that would make the most sense. But it's there hasn't been a GoFundMe of, hey, you know what, we had a pipe break. Can you all help us out here? I mean, it just feels more, trying to keep my words very careful here. It seems more legitimate in the sense that that's how I would like to see a business run. I mean, I'm not saying what Jason's doing is not legitimate. It just isn't, to me, it isn't favorable.
No, it feels more organic what Dave did.
Yeah.
Dave saw a need and went for it. Jason, yeah, I'm sure he was wanting to help out whomever outside of Andrea Perrin, to keep this place running. If there is another party involved, that I really don't know. But the fact that it wasn't even a historical site to begin with, to me, that's why I always refer to it as a pop culture site, not a historical site. Because if it was historical, the state of Rhode Island would have just stepped in right away and snagged the property before any of that got blown open and before anybody put out a GoFundMe.
Absolutely. Now, going to the comments here, Andra says regarding all this, it's a marketing thing, unreal. It is unreal. And it's, I get frustrated that more people don't see that. It doesn't matter if they, like, okay, it's marketing, but I want to do it. That's totally fine. I mean, whatever you do is totally fine. But to me, it makes more sense if people are just like, yeah, I see it's a marketing thing, but I want to be involved. Okay, that's cool. But when you try to bring it up to people and they're just like, don't you get it? We're saving history. It needs to be saved. You know what also needed to be saved was the Calumet in Pipestone, Minnesota. That needed to be saved, but no one gave a crap about it because it wasn't backed by a celebrity, and that's the thing that gets frustrating. I understand the power of celebrityism in the sense of how it works in the paranormal, but what gets frustrating is when good places are totally ignored and people are sending money to a guy who is, on the other end of the country because they want to just do it because Jason Hawes is doing it.
Yeah, just because there's the famous name attached to it. There's now the movie franchise attached to it. Because how many of the people actually knew about the Conjuring House until the movie franchise who donated to this? That would be a good question to demographic to see.
Absolutely.
Is those who went to see the flicks, to those who knew the stories, to those who were obsessed with the Conjuring House to begin with.
Andrew also says Rotor-Rooter might bring activity there. No, so
some clogged pipes in their future.
Right, exactly. The ghost of sewage. I don't know. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I hope it works out. However, I want nothing to do with it, as I've made very clear to everybody. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. But I guess the bigger problem I have with this is the whole thing of how some paranormal celebrities are kind of like acting as a Pied Piper to get people to give them money to, and it's not giving money to get a book in return or something like that. I mean, there's been a number of them that are doing their own GoFundMes and stuff. Like, help me so I can not have my electricity turned off. And then the next month, once again, can you help me so I can't have my electricity turned off? We all have financially crappy times. And Adam, you and I talk about it all the time, about our own lives, right? I mean, we're doing the best we can with what we have. And I personally have come off of about 4 years of a very turbulent financial life, not in a good way, obviously. And, I never once asked for help from anybody, but there are people, and there is one psychic medium. She was on a program on Netflix, and every single month, she's like, I'm going to be thrown out if I don't get my rent. And she's doing like either GoFundMe or, she's trying to be like, well, I'll give you a reading, but you got to give me money to help me so I don't get thrown out. And that's the sort of thing where it's like, that's, I hope that things get better, but what I'm struggling to understand is, why is it not getting better? And why is it not, every month, and you're getting to this point where you say you're going to be thrown out, and it's like, how do you, are you taking care of yourself? It goes beyond even like, I don't want to give you money, but also, are you taking care of yourself? Because this shouldn't, it really shouldn't be happening every month. What's going on over there? I don't know.
No, and the question is, are they really in that dire straits? Is that money going somewhere else? Because you don't see how they live. You don't see where they live. Are they grabbing these funds from the fans and, going to Vegas for a weekend and then, I'll sit on the craps table. I know my fan base is there. They'll bail me out again.
Yeah. And I won't go into details, but I've certainly have seen the evidence to prove what you just said in some cases.
Yeah.
And because
I've heard stories not just in the paranormal field, but in other circles, especially late 90s radio in the Indianapolis, Cincinnati market. There was, well, he's passed now. There was a former mayor of Cincinnati who was also in the news field, Jerry Springer, and he had those kinds of issues. It wasn't GoFundMe's, but he would constantly have a fan base sending him, money for signed autographs, but this exorbitant amount, it's like $100, and he sends you an 8x10. So it's been going on much longer than the GoFundMe, Kickstarter.com. Celebrities of all ilks have always had this way of still getting money from their fan base.
If anything, it maybe made it a little bit easier. There was one situation where I don't want to say prominent, because I don't think he's prominent, but there's one guy who kept asking people individually for money, and they were all friends actually, and they kind of one day got together, and one just said, "Yeah, I've been helping so and so," and they're like, "Well, I've been helping so and so." "Oh, I've been helping so and so too," and they worked it out that between the like 6 or 8 of them, that this person was getting like $4,000 to $5,000 a month from them. And it's just like, that's just not right. That's just nasty. So
that's essentially, that's a con right there.
It is a con. It absolutely is a con. What we need to do is this isn't a con. This is real. We need to get a break in here. Let's do this. Let's take our break. When we come back, we are going to continue our conversation. If there's anything that you want to bring up, and I saw Lisa put something in, we'll talk about in the comments. We have a lot going on here, so don't go anywhere. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Greg Bakun here. I've been talking for a while about how spooky, fun, and fascinating the Minneapolis trolley tours are, but now there's big news. The Candlelight Ghost Tours now begin at the historic Pillsbury Club, a beautifully restored haunted mansion once owned by Charles Pillsbury himself. Believe it or not, the interior is nearly 200 years older than the exterior. How is that possible? You'll have to come out and find out. Before or after your tour, stop by the on-site market featuring a curated collection of handmade goods, artisan crafts, and locally inspired treasures. Perfect for picking up a keepsake to remember your haunting adventure. You'll also find exclusive spooky merchandise from Tales of the Crypt and Elvira. Then, climb aboard the climate-controlled trolley as we travel through Minneapolis' haunted hotspots, uncovering ghost stories that locals would rather keep buried. The mansion is restored to perfection, and there is no better way to spend an evening. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets and more information. Greg Bakun here. It's nice to get out of the Twin Cities and take some travel excursions to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com. So, what are you doing for the rest of the week? Because I got a lot going on here, and I want to invite you to as much of it that you want to take part in. First of all, tomorrow is the May Ghost Stories and Beyond at Billy's Bar and Grill in Anoka. This is always a lot of fun, and what we're going to be doing tomorrow at Billy's Bar and Grill is going to be a spirit box session, amongst other things. We're going to see if we can bring through spirit. We're going to kind of do it like a gallery. So this gallery is going to be like trying to reach out to your loved ones and stuff. It's $10 to get in. It starts at 6:30. That money does not include food or drink, but food and drink, in particular hamburgers, are 50% off tomorrow. So it's a great, great deal. Come on out, say hi. We'd love to have you there. But then also, I'm really excited about this Friday over at the Pillsbury Club. And we've been talking about this, and this is a great opportunity to investigate. I get so many people who are always saying to me, how can I investigate? Where can I go and investigate? How can I investigate with you guys? Well, this is what you can do. You can join us for a 2-hour paranormal investigation inside the Pillsbury Club, which is a 130-year-old Minneapolis landmark mansion originally owned by the Pillsbury family. This is going to be led by Char Savoy and myself, and we'll give you a hands-on participation in an authentic paranormal investigation. This group will have access to areas of the mansion that are not open to the public, and these special areas are long rumored to have unexplained activity. Beginner investigation equipment will be provided for those who need it, and guests are encouraged to bring their own paranormal tools. We also strongly welcome anyone with psychic and intuitive abilities to participate and use their unique senses as part of the investigation. That is the fun of it all. And so this is going to be happening on Friday at 9 p.m. at the Pillsbury Club. To get tickets, go to MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com. You can find right on there Pillsbury Club Ghost Hunt. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to be doing this Friday. We're going to be doing this on May 29th. We're going to be doing it all throughout the summer. So if you can't make it to this one, there will be others, but we'd love to see you there. And I have a feeling that this isn't something that you're going to just want to do once. So once again, go over to MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com, Pillsbury Club Paranormal Ghost Hunt. And as always, when you're there, check out all the tours that are going on over at the Minneapolis Trolley Tours. We always talk about the Candlelight Ghost Tours, but there are a lot of tours right now going on over there, and you get the true crime tours as well as all sorts of other fun activities there as well. You do not want to miss this. So we're excited about that. Adam, it's like one of those dream things, being able to get into a big old mansion, big old scary mansion, and investigate it. That's the fun and cool stuff.
And I was just kind of thinking about this as well. You're doing the one Thursday a month at Divine Lights as well.
Yep.
And you keep talking about how the activity is increased, how you're getting new things the more you get in there. Now you're going to a place that's got history upon history. You're going to be a more familiar face there, you and Char. It's going to be so interesting to see how it goes from day one, which is May 8th, by the way. Mark your calendars. Go to the Trolley Tour website, get your tickets now, to the 29th, throughout June, throughout July, throughout August, and so forth and so on. So, like Greg said, don't go on it just once.
Yeah.
As he and Char move along, they're going to be unlocking even more spirits because the spirits are going to be familiar with Greg and Char. So definitely go out more than once.
And I've had a lot of people reach out to me asking about it. And I may not see them necessarily Friday, but we're going to see them as time goes on. And I think this is going to be a pretty big success. We do cap it out at a certain number, so it's not going to be like 50 people in there trying to do this. So it's going to be great. It's going to be really cool, and I'm looking forward to it. And if anyone watched our Halloween episode, we did it live from the Pillsbury Club, and that was amazing. I didn't get a chance to investigate. You really didn't get a chance to investigate. If you did, it was going to be at the station. So, this is going to be, I'm excited to be able to kind of see what's going on there myself. It's going to be so much fun. And it's such a cool building. And what John and Norman did to it on the inside, I mean, they didn't, first of all, they were very, they kept the spirit of the place, no pun intended, just as it is. I mean, they didn't do a lot of changes inside. They just enhanced it. It looks beautiful in there. And, I mean, that's worth the price itself, just getting in there and being able to see the inside of this place. Man, I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. So come on out.
And it also makes me wonder, so in the largest room, or excuse me, not the largest room, but the one upstairs, that big empty space that I think Char and Liz were in most of the night.
Yep.
That one seemed so neat because as the night went on, it seemed like the 2 or 3 entities that seemed to be up there the whole time got more and more comfortable with them. By the time we got to those last hour and a half, it was almost like they could ask, hey, can you do this? And something would go off. So go back and watch that, folks, if you can. It's on YouTube. But this is going to be so much fun for you guys to go out there. And yeah, snag those tickets. It's going to be a blast.
You know, it's funny about that too, because you're right. We saw a lot of stuff on camera when we were doing the show, but that wasn't really I mean, what Char and Liz were picking up and what was happening to them when we weren't on them was nonstop. It was just a lot of stuff and a lot of and I mean, I can't even go through all the stuff that they've experienced, and it's just it is incredible. And I really want to have I want to experience it for myself, let alone have a lot of other people come out as well. I mean, that we can all experience it, but I myself am just like, let's do this, you know? So yeah, it's going to be
Yeah,
great.
you were there, but what, you investigated all of like 15, maybe 20 minutes in total?
Well, and that's just it too, because it's like, they're like, come up and investigate. And even though like people were running the show that were very trustworthy, my mind was with the show. So, you know, it's like, I don't really want to be away that long and all that stuff, where now I'm just going to be there, and we're going to reach out to Spirit. We're going to reach out to maybe Charles Pillsbury. I don't know. We'll see what we come up with. But it's going to be a lot of fun. That's one thing I think I can guarantee. It's going to be a lot of fun for people. So yeah, come on out. MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com and get your tickets, and also get your tickets. It'd be a great night, quite frankly. Go on one of the Candlelight Ghost tours, and then finish off by having a paranormal investigation of the Pillsbury Club. So yeah, cool. Let's see here. Where are we here? Andra says, I feel it's a group think, even though it might be two people investigating. Yeah, very well could be. Now I want to get to Lisa also here. Lisa at the beginning of the program said, hello, biggest grievance, those without situational awareness during an investigation. Also, Adam sent you an invite to the next Money Bowl workshop. Wow.
Yes.
You're any sort of financial trouble you have is just about to end. That's all I know. So
if that's the case, what's that meme? I may not tell anybody I've won the lottery, but there will be signs or something like that. That would be me.
Right, exactly. There'll be signs, and there's a picture of you with Kevin Smith in your house just hanging out. Yeah.
I would go with that.
I saw that. I just have to say, I saw that Kevin Smith is coming back to the Twin Cities September 15th.
Yeah, I might be taking that day off from work.
I would hope so. Lisa saying, without situational awareness during investigation, I have a couple real big issues on some investigations, and one of the rules kind of that you don't want to do when you're on an investigation is you don't want to ask Spirit, do you want us to leave? Because the way that at least we investigate, and the people that we investigate with, if you ask Spirit a question and they answer, you have to follow through with that. You don't just be like, well, we're not, you know. So at the Calumet, we spent hours setting up the like one of the rooms in the hotel to like cameras and all sorts of things that go, you know, bing and lights up and stuff. And I mean, it's you know, at least 2 hours, right? And we're sitting there, and it's a group of us, it's a couple different teams, and it's like we're getting ready to start. And one of the guys, his first question, do you want us to leave? What are you doing?
Oh, I just like doing setup and teardown. I don't like the investigation.
Yeah, it's like you know, where did you even get that from? Why would that be the first question? Even I just like, what? And I just was. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't feel like a laser burning the back of his head. I was staring at him so hard, like, what on earth, buddy, are you doing? And luckily, no devices went off or anything. You know, it's like, oh well, I guess we got to go now. You know, I mean, let's go back to the Twin Cities from Pipestone, just a mere 3.5 hours away. Yeah, no, it was just like, and I also, because I know people get excited, and I just want to also say, going to do like something like the Pillsbury Club is different than doing an investigation with like other paranormal teams, because we all know kind of the etiquette, if you will. Whereas people coming for these type of events at the Pillsbury Club, we're just here to have fun. We want to see what we can get. We're not going to hold people to, steadfast rules, apart from a couple. Like, we're not going to allow any sort of provoking. You got to be kind. You have to be nice. Stuff that you think is human, but you'd be surprised, right? But when it comes to when you're with other teams and they're doing that, you're just like, wow, okay, that's great. And when you're with other teams and they all want to ask the question, and I'm not ripping on it, because I've been there themselves. You kind of all want to impress each other a little bit. So everyone wants to come up with a better question than the question being asked. And the situational part that Lisa's kind of talking about here, at least is kind of what I'm thinking, is that you're trying to have one train of thought with an investigation. Doesn't mean you can't change it, but you don't want to ask like 3 to 4 different questions to a spirit in a short amount of time that have nothing to do with each other. You want them all to be connected. And when you get people like, you're asking like, did you used to work here? And then someone else is like, did you go to the farmer's market in the farm area down the street? It's like, what? That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. You wanted to keep it all in the same sort of vein. If you want to switch subjects, you just work as a team to do that, but you don't just start, throwing out, 15 different trains of thoughts to spirit. It doesn't work. Imagine that, Adam. It doesn't work.
Well, and I think a lot of, unfortunately, folks who haven't gone to your guys' class, and folks who aren't just, kind of with it, if you will, they think what they see on TV is what you guys do.
Yes.
The session is no longer than 3 to 4 minutes. It's one question followed by another, followed by another, followed by another. Okay, we're moving on to the next room. They don't realize you guys are spending an hour and a half in each particular room talking, trying to have a conversation. They think it's Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters, where it's in and out, and you're done in 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it kind of reminds me too, and you see the type, right? That clearly they've watched an episode or 2 of Ghost Adventures, and I remember very plainly an event that I worked on in York, Nebraska, that was at a mortuary, and you get this guy comes in. And he's wearing like a utility vest with a ton of pockets, with gear all over him. He's lit up. It's fine. That's cool. But the thing is kind of the way he was investigating, which was kind of like, you're kind of borderline there, buddy. Don't, just be kind. And then at the end, we broke up into 2 groups, and we do this thing on occasion where we have somebody else ask a question in another group, and we see, without hearing what they're saying, we hear if Spirit Box answers, and we transcribe whatever we hear in the Spirit Box, any words, and we see if they match up, like, questions like 1 through 10 or something like that. And we're in this dark part of the mortuary, and we're just listening to Spirit Box, and all of a sudden this guy with his all-purpose paranormal vest, he's just like he starts like screaming and stuff, and like, what's the problem? Something scratched me. And I'm like, light. And someone flashes a light on his neck, because that's where he's like, it's my neck. I look and like, there's nothing there. Oh, okay. And I'm like, okay, let's keep going. We start talking more and trying to get more answers or whatever. All of a sudden, again, this guy, my neck, oh.
light. And someone flashes the light on him, and sure enough, he has scratches on the back of his neck. 4 scratches. And it's like, yeah, man. And his girlfriend, it was 3, because his girlfriend's like, that means a demonic possession. I was, just relax, okay, lady. Because it's like, just relax. And I said, can you do me a favor? And he's like, what? He's just like, what? Can I see your hands? What? Can I see your hands, please? He shows me his hands, and one of his hands has skin in his nails because he scratched himself. And you're just, and I'm just like, it's like, you got to go now. You got to leave. It was at the end of the night anyway, but it's like, you got to apologize to these people, because people started to be like, especially when she's like, that's demonic possession. You could see people starting to kind of freak out. You don't do that. And so yeah, it was kind of gross, but I mean, that's the sort of thing you run into, and you run into this so many times on different sort of investigations where someone wants to be the kind of the center of attention, and you run into it a lot. And I have hundreds of examples of what I've seen over the years, including somebody who I dated, and she was a psychic medium, and she, which is one of the reasons why I eventually wanted nothing to do with her, is because she would make sure that she was always the center of attention. She didn't start off this way, but that's where it went to. And I remember being at the Anderson house with her, and with friends of mine who, like, they own the house, and other investigators, and she'd be like suddenly in a trance, and I look at my friends, and they just were like, we could see through this. And I'm like, I'm so embarrassed right now, because she's better than this. But that's, people start thinking they're not paying attention to me. I have to do this. So that was unfortunate. John, do you remember that? Do you remember what I'm talking about there? Because John was part of it.
You mentioned that. We had just actually picked up watching Most Haunted again. So talking about, center of attention, psychic going off for no reason. So it's funny you bring that story up.
Yeah, no, it's really something. It's just kind of pretty bad. And yeah, John's like, yes, I remember. And it's like, yeah, it got really weird. And you see people, they something happens, and they change, and that's just kind of how it is. Why don't we go ahead? We got another break that we need to take. When we come back, I want to talk about anything else that's on your mind with that. I also want to talk a little bit about the conversation I had with Heidi Hollis last night, because I thought that was really interesting as well. Anything you want to put in comments, do so. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Greg Bakun here. I've been talking for a while about how spooky, fun, and fascinating the Minneapolis trolley tours are, but now there's big news. The Candlelight Ghost Tours now begin at the historic Pillsbury Club, a beautifully restored haunted mansion once owned by Charles Pillsbury himself. Believe it or not, the interior is nearly 200 years older than the exterior. How is that possible? You'll have to come out and find out. Before or after your tour, stop by the on-site market featuring a curated collection of handmade goods, artisan crafts, and locally inspired treasures. Perfect for picking up a keepsake to remember your haunting adventure. You'll also find exclusive spooky merchandise from Tales of the Crypt and Elvira. Then, climb aboard the climate-controlled trolley as we travel through Minneapolis' haunted hotspots, uncovering ghost stories that locals would rather keep buried. The mansion is restored to perfection, and there is no better way to spend an evening. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets and more information.
Greg Bakun here. It's nice to get out of the Twin Cities and take some travel excursion to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com.
And for the rest of this week, we're going to be actually rerunning episodes because there's so much going on with ghost stories and the investigation at the Pillsbury Club that this is the last new show for this week, but I'm going to be back Monday. We're going to have Char Savoy that you may have heard on such other radio programs as this one, where we're going to be talking about the investigation at the Pillsbury Club. We're also going to be talking about her next event with Maria Shaw. That's going to be happening that following weekend. So we're going to have that. And we're also going to have Matt Schmidt back on next Wednesday. We're going to be talking all sorts of great stuff. He just actually got back from Contact Modalities Expo. And I want to do this as a favor to Mel, who put it on, that right now, if you go to contactmodalitiesxpo.com, that you get an early bird special for the 2027 convention. So go out there, and it's a sizable chunk off of the ticket price. So go out there. If you are interested this year, go to Contact Modalities XPO on Facebook. They have a lot of pictures of the event, and I know that I'm kind of wishing that I was able to get out there. Maybe next year I'll be able to do so. Reading some of Matt's, because Matt Schmidt was out there, reading some of his posts. He just had a great time. So I'm really excited to kind of maybe have a chance to go out there next year. But once again, go to contactmodalitiesxpo.com to check out the early bird specials. So that was pretty cool. One person that didn't go out there, though, this year was Heidi Hollis. We had her on the program last night. Always so interesting. Now, Adam, let me ask you this, because I'm going to admit I've never really thought about this before myself. Demonic possession. What if that's alien in some cases, or almost any case?
You know what? I don't know. That's an interesting question that I've never really given any thought to.
I've never either. And she said that last night a couple of times. And we're talking about some of my experiences. And I think we actually were talking about this after the show, which we should have kept the show going for. We were talking for another hour afterwards. But we were talking about my experiences with aliens. And she was very clear to me. She's like, you got to remove that. You have to get them out, because she said, have you ever heard of anyone talking about having like a experience of they're going to the light, and at the end of the light they see aliens? I said, I have heard of that before. And she said, that's because the aliens can take your soul. And I'm not sure where I land on that, but I think that's a very interesting, because she is actually putting a lot of alien and almost theology together, which I can see why you would do that. Some of it, though, I'm not 100% sure I'm on board with, but I thought it was very interesting.
And it makes me wonder then about those experiencers who have had repeat visits.
Yes.
Like the first GhostBox After Dark we did about the alien encounters.
Mm-hmm.
Where, topic was brought up where John's first experience was younger, and then he had it again later on. And then he was talking about at the wrap party how a bunch of them saw another UFO. There is, it could definitely credence to one another.
It could. It really could. One of the things that she was also just talking about was that the more you keep them in your lives, the more that they are going to try to kind of fumble you up. She said, like, they're going to watch what they're going to watch what you do. They're going to watch what makes you upset, and they're going to recreate that's what they want to do. And I'm like, it's interesting. I don't, she's had a great deal of experience with aliens. It's really interesting, her talking about having one night while she was in college, having woken up to 9 grays in her apartment, to the point, which I still find very funny, the point she just got so frustrated she picked one up and just started shaking him. Like, but it's like, and I said, what's interesting about that was when did that CE5 experience with John, we had about 8 or 9 in a semicircle, that we could see surrounding us. So, it's like, is that a certain number that we have to be, that means something? I don't know. But her take on it is very interesting. And one that I don't think anyone should ignore, quite honestly. So, yeah, very interesting. A great episode last night.
That is interesting, and the whole 8 or 9 thing as well.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like their squadron, if you will, or their little platoon that they send out. It could be a predetermined number by whatever they go by. So it could be, not just a coincidence that it was about the same number. That could be their protocol.
I just laugh because you're like, and their little squadron. I'm like, oh, they have a little squadron. Little aliens with their little squadron.
Just flying down or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, if maybe it's a beam like Star Trek. They just materialize.
Andra says, with Heidi, I thought what she had to say was really interesting. I did wish she was on longer because I was just understanding her side of things and I had questions. And I know, right? We got to make this thing 2 hours long. Maybe we will someday. Maybe we will. I don't know.
Well, it's like the first time you had Heidi on as well. It's that one needed to go longer.
I was on, I think Heidi and I were on talking with each other afterwards that night for probably about 2 hours afterwards. And
all of it probably would have been pure gold.
It was, she is quite the wealth of information, and and she's been doing this since the end of the 90s, mid to the end of the 90s. So she's been around for a while and her first book, I think, came out in 2001. So, there is something to this that, and this isn't an attack on anyone who's just written the book or whatever, but there is history to that as well. And she's been building on that research for years and years and years. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And she wants to come back on. I want her back on. So we'll probably get her back on pretty quickly, I think, if she's able to. Because like Andra said, there's so many. Where we started the conversation was not where I expected where we ended it. And that's just good because there's just so much to talk about. And folks, if you are wondering about the episode, go to Spotify or am950radio.com and you can listen to last night's episode. It is well worth it. It is great. So yeah, it's really cool. Let's see here. So, being commentating with me tonight, what was that? Was that all right? Or were you just kind of like, are you bored over there or what's going on?
No, I think it was fine, but you can tell you're down at the bottom of the barrel, or Ernie Pack was busy. So, you reached out to me to hop on tonight. But I'm like, I don't have my Cokes. I just have my Arizona mangoes. So I'm not going to get diabetes as quick as Ernie.
Ernie Pack. That's not even diabetes. That's just your intestines being like disintegrated. If a metal nail can't handle being in Coke, how can your body parts? Granted, I should talk. I am the the Mountain Dew guy. So,
You're just not going to have any kidneys left.
no, they're rapidly seizing up on me. So yeah, no, it's going to be, but then again, Matt Schmidt, he's going to help us get, he's going to help us get new kidneys, with quantum healing. So I like that.
I'm down. I can use that, I could use a new face.
And it sounds like I'm joking when I say it, but I'm not. I mean, I'm really excited about that. Let's see, Deb or Dave, because who knows, says that you're fabulous.
Thank you very much.
We got that. And yeah, I think we should do this again sometime, where it's not just a casual Friday, and no casual Friday this week. That's sad. That makes me sad.
Yeah, but will you still get a chance? No, you won't get a chance to grill out. You got to be at the Pillsbury Club kind of early.
I do. No grilling this week. Maybe Saturday or Sunday, but not Friday. And that's okay too. And I actually have another investigation earlier in the day that I need to do as well. So,
cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a big day of investigating. That's for sure. So, what can you do?
Don't wear yourself out. Make sure you cleanse yourself before going from one to another.
And Sunday is also going to be another spirit box session. So, and I'll be honest, after the last one, I needed to do something a little bit different because I was exhausted on Monday, just absolutely devastated. But then, funny enough, then the next day, my energy was back stronger than it's been in probably years, which is interesting, isn't it? So there you go. All right. Well, what can you say? We got to do this again, Adam.
Yes, tonight was fun.
Good.
Airing our grievances. We should do this more than once a year, though.
Well, maybe that's the Thursday night when we go back to Thursday nights on the nights of the investigations. So
that sounds like a good idea.
Let's do that, everyone. Let me know what you think of this. Everyone have a good night, and we will see you next week. Take care.